economy. But throughout this campaign, we've tried to give you a better sense of who these men are and what makes them tick. Tonight, another installment of our special series, Presidential Questions, Character, Leadership, and the Candidates. You and your opponent have both been criticized as elitists. Given the way you live today, why isn't that a valid criticism?
Well, look at how I came up. Raised by a single mom. Family had very little money when I was growing up. We were on food stamps at some point. I went to school on scholarships. Michelle, coming from the south side of Chicago, to a working class shift worker who never graduated never even went to college, and a stay-at-home mom. That's our background. And up until, I can provide you the date exactly, up until I spoke at the Democratic National Convention, where suddenly my book sold as a consequence of people knowing who I was. We were living in a three-bedroom condo that was already getting too small, 2 kids, no college fund set up yet, not much of a retirement fund to speak of. At the end of every month, sometimes having to figure out whether or not we could pay all the bills. So the things that middle-class families are going through right now, Michelle and I went through 5 years ago. So the point is that we are about as ordinary a pair, a couple, as probably has ever embarked on this journey to the White House.
I think it's the Ivy League education that somehow going to Harvard Law School and being head of the law review, and for Michelle going to Princeton and Harvard Law School, it puts you in this rarefied air.
I think it's an interesting point, and Michelle talks about this quite a bit because, and sometimes this is something that in the African-American community has been a problem, is, as Michelle puts it, we have done everything that you said you wanted your kids to do, right? We worked hard, we focused on school, we, reached for, what we were told was the best education possible. To then suggest that that makes us elitist, or that we're no longer part of the community, which again is not only been part of the public dialogue, but Michelle and I and a lot of other African Americans sometimes have to struggle with. The notion is if you're authentic in the community, then it means that you wouldn't go to a place like Harvard. I think that's a perverse incentive, a perverse message in terms of what we want to send to our kids.
Well, let me just say to start with that I grew up as the son of a naval officer. I believe that most Americans would believe that that's an elitist lifestyle. In fact, it entails a lot of sacrifice on the part of the family. Second of all, I lived for 5.5 years without a kitchen table or a chair in a small cell, sometimes by myself. But the point is that you get in touch with the American people by doing the town hall meetings, where you hear the hopes and the dreams and the aspirations and the concerns of the American people, and you come in direct contact with them. In all due respect to programs like these, you can look into people's eyes and hear what's on their minds, and that way you can learn so much about what you need to do for them in America, especially in these tough times. There are people that are coming to these town hall meetings that have just lost their jobs, that are facing losing their homes. That's the way you stay in touch with the American people, in my view.
Why do you think so many prominent political figures risk so much by being unfaithful to their spouse?
I have no idea, because my attitude is, the more I'm in public, I don't even want to pick my nose. I'm assuming everybody's watching, and it's just, it's an interesting, I'll leave that to the psychologists. But I find that the more I'm in the public eye, the more I want to make sure that people, that there's no gap between who I am and the face that I'm presenting in the world. You know, you want people to know that what you say is what you mean, and that's who you are.
I don't know, Katie, and I don't understand people's personal lives, and so I can't comment on that. I think it's something that I really am not running for president to address, and I can't comment on it.
Isn't it, though, bizarre, though, when you think about it, Senator Eliot Spitzer, recently John Edwards, President Clinton? I think it's very befuddling to many people in this country.
Yeah, but I also am reminded of the biblical admonition about judge not. And so I really don't make any comments about that because, frankly, I want to be a good president and try to lead an honorable life. And I've been an imperfect servant, and so I'm not judging.
Tomorrow night, how the candidates would improve education in this country in our continuing series, Where They Stand. And